Hello and welcome to 𝐿𝐭𝐴𝐧𝐧𝐞𝐿 Bundesliga Matchday 20, and we keep watching the fight between Bayern Leverkusen and Bayern Munich. This time we were quite surprised, Ronan, to see Bayern Leverkusen dropping points against Gladbach in a kind of unlucky game, this one, for Xabi Alonso's men.
Yeah, I said in last week's video that I thought Gladbach had a chance, and that's why we obviously tipped them with the Asian handicap in that game. But I didn't think perhaps it would be as close as it was in the end, and maybe that comes down to the bad finishing on Bayer Leverkusen's part, and it shows that they're kind of struggling maybe a bit with Boniface out. They've obviously brought in someone to replace him, but it's going to be hard to replace those goals, and hopefully the players in the other positions can kind of step up and maybe provide the goals and keep them ahead of Bayern Munich in the title race. Because if Bayern Munich pull back in front, I fear for the title race. But hopefully Leverkusen can stay top for another while and make it interesting.
Well, Bayern, they are again favorites to win the title. We get weekly updates, 1.6 Bayern to win, 2.38 for Leverkusen to win. So now it's another good time for betting on Leverkusen to win the Bundesliga. Remember, guys, tell me in the comments, what do you think? Next, in a couple of weeks, we have this Leverkusen Bayern Munich title match. And of course, press the like and subscribe. Let's go on with the show. But before focusing on the title race, it's also very interesting the top four fight this season. On Friday, the opening game in the match day 20 is Heidenheim Borussia Dortmund. A very good game because Dortmund, they are now fourth in the standings. A great start of the year, as Ronan told us. Even now 𝐿𝐭𝐿 scoring a hat-trick in the victory against Bochum, is three consecutive wins for Dortmund, but it's not easy to go to Heidenheim, especially right now that they are undefeated in the last six, three consecutive 1-1 for Heidenheim.
Yeah, I'm not predicting 1-1 here, though. It would be interesting if it was another 1-1. But yeah, like you said, 𝐿𝐭𝐿 with a hat-trick, he kind of didn't expect that. But I suppose that's his third different hat-trick for different teams in the Bundesliga. He scored hat-tricks for three different teams, which is a kind of an incredible feat in itself. And he now has as many Bundesliga hat-tricks as Aubameyang and Erling Haaland. So wow. Yeah, he's putting himself in good position to keep starting, especially when Haller comes back from the African Cup of Nations. Obviously, he'll provide a bit of competition up front. But 𝐿𝐿 has been doing a great job so far this year, and Borussia Dortmund have been doing a great job. Heidenheim, like we keep saying, they keep kind of impressing us because they're overperforming. They're getting decent results against decent teams in the Bundesliga, and they keep trying to show that this is their level. But I think the way Borussia Dortmund are playing at the moment, and the way they were able to kill off the game last week, they've shown that they're a different Borussia Dortmund this year to last year. So I think it's going to be a different game than the match we saw earlier this season. The August-September game was 2-2 It was 2-2 in Dortmund, but I don't think this one is going to be quite so even. It could be another high-scoring affair because, like we usually say, Heidenheim like goals in their games. This Borussia Dortmund team have scored lots of goals so far this year. So total goals over 3.5 has happened in 48% of Heidenheim's games, 43% in Dortmund. So total goals over 3.25 at 192 could be an option here. Heidenheim have both for their last 5 games, they've had both teams to score, yes. So that's an option here. Dortmund have 3 in their last 5. The other 2 were wins to 0. So both teams to score here could be an option, 1.5. But I think I like Borussia Dortmund to rack up another big win because they've had wins by 2 or more goals in every game so far this year. So Borussia Dortmund, the Asian handicap minus 1.25 is my tip for this one. I think they could get another big win and keep that fourth position or top 4 position theirs.
They are having a great start of the year. Also, the schedule was kind of easy, but you have to win the games. After this one, they play Freiburg and Wolfsburg before playing PSV in the Champions League. On Saturday, we start with Bayern Munich Gladbach. Great game. This one, if Bayern win, they can go on top of the table. Even, well, Leverkusen, they are playing at the same time against Darmstadt. Bayern reacted after the defeat against Werder Bremen with 2 wins against Union Berlin and Augsburg. Gladbach usually is the black cat of Bayern Munich. This season, Bayern was able to win in Borussia Park, but be careful always with Gladbach, Bayern Munich, these kind of games.
Yeah, you should be, because the history tells us this could be a result or a game where Gladbach can get a result. The most common result in this match is a 1-1, and that was the result actually last year in this game, or last season in this game. So it was a 1-1 last season. So I wouldn't be surprised if a week after upsetting Leverkusen's title race, they upset Bayern Munich's title chances. It could be one of these. Gladbach could be the thorn in the side of both teams looking for the Bundesliga title. So this is a one where I think Gladbach could be able to go toe-to-toe with Bayern Munich. So yeah, I think the odds favour Bayern Munich perhaps a bit too heavily. Gladbach, they pulled off a defensive masterclass in that game against Bayer Leverkusen. Can they do it again? It was the XG was 3.33, which is a difficult one for Irish people to say, because we're not known for our TH sounds. So, but yeah, 3.33 XG for Leverkusen in that game. To Gladbach were only able to create 0.28, so they didn't really get a lot of chances. So we'll be hoping they can do a bit more, maybe in attack in this one, but that could leave them exposed. And we know what Bayern Munich are like. Harry Kane got on the score sheet again. He's going for the best ever debut season as a Bayern Munich player. He's only 1 goal shy of Luca Toni's 2007-2008 season, 24 Bundesliga goals. So he's looking for a 24th Bundesliga goal in this game, and he wouldn't bet against him not to get it. So I think this one could be an interesting game. So both teams to score, yes, is 1.85 in this one. It could be a good one. Over 3.5 goals, it happens 52% of the time for Bayern, 59% of the time for Gladbach. So over half the games of both teams are over 3.5 goals. So this could be one with plenty of goals. I looked at total goals over 1.75 in the first half. So I think there could be a goal for each team in the first half, perhaps. That's odds of over 2 there if you're interested in that one. But I think this could be another one where Gladbach will be able to maybe do enough. And I think the Asian handicap looks good for Gladbach, especially at some of the higher numbers. So Gladbach Asian handicap plus 2.5 is 1.9. I think that looks good.
Well, Gladbach to win is 20. Yeah? If we check the head-to-head in the last 7 years that we have data in Oddspedia, we have more wins for Borussia Mönchengladbach, 7, than for Bayern Munich, 6. And this is quite surprising, of course, talking about Bayern Munich. Very good game. And this one, at the same time, another good game. Freiburg, Stuttgart. Freiburg 7th in the standings. Stuttgart 3rd, and now with 4 points distance with Leipzig after thrashing them 5-2 to keep the Champions League spot. Undav this time scored another hat-trick, talking about Füllkrug and his hat-tricks. Away, though, for Stuttgart, Ronan, they lost 4 out of the last 5 away games.
Yeah, they haven't been as good on the road as they have been at home, and obviously they've looked so good at home this season, and that's made a huge difference, and that's why they're in the hunt for a Champions League place. So, but I was impressed with Undav. He's really stepped up in Grassi's absence. He's now on 10 goals thanks to that hat trick. Stuttgart are the only side in the Bundesliga with 2 different players to have 10 plus goals. Grassi obviously has 17, and Undav now has 10. And Atletico Madrid are the only other team in Europe's top 5 leagues to actually have 2 players with 10 or more goals each this season as well. Griezmann and Morata are obviously the ones for them putting in the goals. So Undav has done brilliantly to step up in Grassi's absence, and I think he can continue to carry the can in this one. Obviously, if you remember back to the earlier match this season, it was 5-0 to Stuttgart, but last season both matches were 2-1 to Freiburg. So I'd say it's a bit closer to the 2-1 perhaps than the 5-0 this time around, but it was 2-1 in Freiburg and 1-0 in Stuttgart, actually. I think Stuttgart should have enough here. They've shown in recent weeks and in recent months that they are a better team, perhaps, than Freiburg have been shown. They've been inconsistent. The average goals here is 2.3 to 1.3 for in Stuttgart's favor. Stuttgart win looks good here, but I think it could. There's always the potential, obviously, for a draw in this one. So I'm going for Stuttgart in handicap minus a quarter. So that's coming in just over 2.
Well, very good game, man. This one, Freiburg, Stuttgart. And let's see if Stuttgart, they are able to get the 3 points. They are favorites for this one. Next one is Mainz, Werder Bremen. I'm surprised to see the odds here. I'm very surprised to see Mainz as favorite. For this one, they stay in relegation spots after the defeat against Frankfurt. Last 9 games were under 2.5 goals, by the way, for Mainz. And Werder Bremen is a great start of 2024, beating Freiburg, beating Bayern, and defeated in the last 6. That's why I don't get the odds.
No, I don't either. I think it's crazy for a team that only has 1 win all season to be the favourite in any match, especially against a team who are doing much better than them this season. The average goals for Mainz is 0.8, so they're not even scoring a goal a game. So how are they going to win matches if they can't even score a goal a game? I don't really know. The average goals for Werder Bremen 1.5, so it does seem like Bremen should be favoured in this one. I think they should have enough about them to win. The most common result is a 2-1 for Bremen, and the most common result in Mainz is a 2-1 for Bremen. But unfortunately, the fact that Mainz can't score goals, and I'm not completely confident that it's going to be another 2-1 for Bremen in this one. I think it could be a bit lower, perhaps 1-0 or 2-0. So I'm worried that Mainz will score at all. They've only 1 goal so far in 2024, and Bremen are, after that win over Freiburg, they have 4 goals now this year. So I think they should be able to do enough to win this one. So I don't think Mainz will do anything, but because the way the odds are, I think you could kind of take a double chance here and go Bremen Asian handicap 0, and that's coming in at over 2.5. So that looks very good here, I think.
It does indeed. Looks very good. Next one, Darmstadt, Leverkusen. You mentioned the XG in the game Leverkusen Gladbach. I guess they were unlucky after being lucky in the victories against Leipzig, Augsburg, playing against the last team of the standings. Next game is Bayern Munich. So where do we find value and good odds here?
Yeah, it's obviously hard to find value in Bayer Leverkusen just to win, because the bookies obviously expect them to win big. It was 5-1 to Leverkusen earlier this season, and you wouldn't really be surprised if you saw a repeat of that again, would you? These teams, they're both capable of scoring goals, both capable of conceding goals, so it could be an over kind of game. So looking at the over 3.5, it's happened 50% in each of their games, so half the time it happens to both teams. Darmstadt, they're scoring 1.2 goals a game, but they're conceding 2.5. So it shows they're very open at the back. On the other hand, Leverkusen, they're scoring 2.6 and conceding 0.7. So this has kind of a 3-1 win kind of written all over it. It seems like that sort of game, but Leverkusen will be determined to get a win here after how frustrated they were by Gladbach to set the Bundesliga record for the most touches in the opposition box, 69, on the way to breaking the over that over 3 XG last week. So I think they'll be looking to score goals and score a lot of goals. Kind of Xabi Alonso will be out to prove a point after kind of slipping up last week. So I like the look of Leverkusen Asian handicap minus 1.5 here. It's 1.9, I think 1.91. I think that could be a good one, but the overall tip I'm going for here is a high scoring game, and it doesn't really matter who scores them as long as there's goals. So total goals over 3.25 is 2. I think that could be a good one to look at here.
It's odd, I think, the signing of Borja Iglesias, no?
Yeah, it is. He has no league goals this season, so you kind of wonder how he's going to step in and fill the void there. But he has shown at times in the past that he's capable of doing it, and I suppose if anybody can pull a player up to standard, it will be Xabi Alonso in this team that creates lots and lots of chances. So he will definitely get the chances to score. Whether he can put them away is going to be a big one in the Bundesliga title race, I think.
He might have thought that it was a prank when his agent told him, look, the leaders of the Bundesliga want you in the team while you are not playing for Betis. But there you have random signings in January. Borja Iglesias too. Bayer Leverkusen. Next game, less sexy, is Bochum Augsburg. But perhaps we can find good odds on the draw or back in Bochum because their home form is quite good. It's 3 wins and 3 draws in the last 6. But also Augsburg, they've been quite all right in this 2024, and even away from home is 8 points for them. So this could be a good option perhaps for the draw.
Yeah, I think I would agree with you there. It was 2-2 obviously in Augsburg earlier this season, and a quarter of the last 8 meetings have been draws. So this one kind of has a draw written all over it. Average goals 1.5, 1.1 to 1.5. So this could be a one for both teams to score yes as well, 1.67. So that could be an option. The average goals for Bochum versus Augsburg is 1.8, and then the average goals for Augsburg in games facing Bochum is 1.6. So it looks like these teams kind of score against them and against each other, but end up drawing. So it could be a correct score 1-1 in this match. But I think the draw, you're probably safer than going out on a limb and saying the correct score. I think a draw looks written all over this one, so I'm definitely going to follow that up. And that's my tip for this one, a draw.
Well, both teams are kind of safe. Is Bochum 8 points from the bottom 3, Augsburg 9 points, especially because the bottom 3, they are not getting points. And one of these teams is Cologne right now in the play-out spots, playing at home against Frankfurt in the late kickoff on Sunday. And here also, if we trust Frankfurt, a team that is getting closer and closer to the European, and even perhaps they can fight this season for the Champions League spots. Frankfurt to win is 2.56, and every time I see 𝐿𝐴𝐧𝐧𝐞𝐿 scoring, I smile, I have to say.
Yeah, he's kind of bringing back that old classic 𝐿𝐴𝐧𝐧𝐞𝐿 that we remember. But yeah, if only Donny van de Beek could bring back the Van de Beek of Ajax, because he has been poor so far since they signed him. He's been taken off kind of just after the hour mark in every game so far. So I'm not sure what's happened with him, but hopefully Mario can have a word in his ear and tell him, well, this is actually what you need to do to turn your career around. So we'll see what happens. I think Frankfurt as well, they should be boosted by the fact that some of the players coming back from AFCON could make a difference. You saw Shaqiri and Shaibi come off the bench in the last game, so maybe they'll be fit enough to maybe challenge for starting roles in this one. And Marmoush will be back now, probably not start, but you could see him on the bench in this one. So they could be a big boost for Frankfurt. But I think this is a poor choice for a Saturday evening game at Topspiele in Germany. I'm not going to be glued to the television. I might see what might be on in the Premier League. Perhaps at the same time, there could be a better fixture on the television if you're not if you're only looking at this at the gambling rather than the spectatorship, because this one, most common result here is a 1-1. The most common result in Cologne is 1-1. 5 of the last 20 meetings have been draws. Cologne 1-12, Frankfurt 3. So it's a surprise given the recent form. If Frankfurt were to do something here, you wouldn't be surprised if they did. But it was a 1-1 earlier this season. Cologne have drawn 2 of the 3 games so far this season, 1-1. This one, I think it could be a 1-1 because Frankfurt, they haven't done a lot this season either. This year, I should say, this year. Frankfurt's 2 wins have both been 1-0 wins. The other was a 2-2 draw. So if you correct score, 1-1 is 7. But I think I like the fact that Cologne's Asian handicap with it plus a quarter could give you kind of both options here. And if it is a draw, so I like to look at that. So 1.89 for that. I think that could be a good tip here.
All right. For Sunday, we have 2 games. Wolfsburg, Hoffenheim is the first one. 3 consecutive 1-1 results for Wolfsburg. Last one against Cologne, the lowest scoring games lately in Wolfsburg games. Hoffenheim winless in 2024, also 1-1 against Heidenheim, and 2 defeats before that. It's only 2 points in the last 5 games for Hoffenheim. Once upon a time, a good away team, actually, in the Bundesliga.
Yeah, we had been saying that earlier. We were kind of surprised earlier in the season that they were so good away and they couldn't really do a lot at home, but their form seems to have deserted them everywhere now at the moment. So I wouldn't be too confident in getting too much from this one. Like you said, Wolfsburg been on a run of 1-1s, but this could be one where they're able to kind of push it over the line a bit more and get perhaps that 2-1 win, because the most common result in this match is 2-1. The most common result in Wolfsburg, 2-1 as well. So this could be a 2-1 as well. So Hoffenheim were able to win 3-1 earlier this season. That was one of the rare home victories at the time, but I think it could be one here where Wolfsburg could pull out another 2-1 victory. Both games last season were 2-1 to Wolfsburg, so this one could be another 2-1 again. Over 3 goals here is 1.96, but I think I'm just going to go straight for the Wolfsburg win, which is 2.16. I think that could be a good option here.
And the last game on Sunday is Leipzig Union Berlin. What a 2024 for Leipzig. Out of the top 4, lost to Stuttgart, to Leverkusen, to Frankfurt. They need to bounce back because they have Augsburg and then Real Madrid around the corner. Luckily for them, Union Berlin, they are the worst away team in the league, and they are coming from the key victory against Darmstadt to put 5 points difference with the bottom 3.
Yeah, it was a narrow win. Just like all their games have been kind of low-scoring affairs for Union Berlin so far this year. 0-0, 0-1, and 1-0 have been the 3 games. So they aren't a team that are doing a lot for the spectator, but I suppose they've picked up 4 points in that run, so they'll be happy enough with that, and that's keeping them away from relegation. And that's kind of what I think that's their hope for this season after such a disastrous start to the season. But I'm not sure they can pick up much against Leipzig. Leipzig have been kind of very inconsistent all season, so they'll be kind of pushing to get back into that top 4 and see Dortmund, or maybe they might look at Stuttgart's place as one that could be under threat. So yeah, Leipzig will be looking to pick up full 3 points here, and they have been scoring lots of goals. Leipzig have been averaging 2.2 goals a game. Union Berlin only 1.1 goal a game so far this year, or this season. So I don't think they're going to get a lot of goals here, and Leipzig will be looking to keep Union kind of at bay for this one, and maybe score early and keep Union out for the rest of the game, rack up a couple of goals themselves. Correct score 2-0 I like to look at here, which is 7. Leipzig Asian handicap minus 1.5 is 2.11. I think that could be an option too, because I think Leipzig could win this one 2 or 3-0. So Leipzig to win 2-0 is my tip for this one.
Let's see if they bounce back. Really poor form. Also, once upon a time, really a strong home team, but they lost the last 2 games at home. Well, Ronan, this is it. Your safe bet for this match day?
Yeah, after drawing last week, I think I'll go for Leverkusen to win this week, to be determined to win. So my safe bet is Leverkusen to win.
And the ACCA?
My ACCA is Dortmund win, Leverkusen win, RB Leipzig to win, and Gladbach Asian handicap plus 2.5. And that's coming in at a total of 6.42.
Okay, 3 favorites, victory, and Gladbach not to get thrashed by Bayern Munich. Ronan, thank you very much. Danke, and see you next week.
Auf Wiedersehen.